Assalamu alaikum, warrior women. We're here with a wonderful episode again and a wonderful speaker. We are still with our theme of premarital counseling, and today our topic is very important. We're going to talk about parenting and childbearing. Why is it important to talk about it? And what are the measures that you can take to make sure that you bring up your children the perfect way? The speaker we have today is a very special person. She is a certified life coach, an LLP certified coach. She has been connected to educational causes for a very long time. An excellent homemaker to 4 wonderful sons. And if you're a mom and you're looking for activities to engage your children with, even though you're working, her Facebook pages, her groups, and her Instagram is a treat for you. Thank you so much, Wafa, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure for having you here.
So welcome. It's a pleasure here as well. Thank you so much.
All right, Wafa. So we're gonna start away with our questions. I would really want to ask you something very important. Why is it so necessary to talk about children? And when I say talking about children, I mean how many children one want to have and how do they want to bring them up, especially in our Asian countries. Why is it necessary, and even is it necessary or not?
I think it's absolutely necessary, especially when you have women who are professional and they want to utilize what they've been working towards, like, they've been mastering and being a doctor, they've been professionals. So it is something that you need to discuss with your future wife or with your future husband, how many children we're going to raise together. And why it is important? Because it is just not the role of a mother to bear a child and raise. It is a role of a couple as a parent to work towards it.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to Asian societies, you see a lot of men, they do not engage in upbringing of kids. In your personal opinion, because I see your Instagram, honestly, it's a treat for a woman and it's a treat for a mom to see how you engage your kids. How do you engage your husband to be there in the activities for your children?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think it's also, I'm grateful to have a very supportive husband here. I must say that, because it is not something that I have trained him to do. It is something that he came in with in the marriage. And we were in talks about how many children we would like to raise together and what's going to be like having children. But unfortunately, that's not the case with everyone.
Absolutely.
Many women don't get a supportive husband. But is that an issue? Can it be dealt with? Yes, it can be dealt with. That's where women need to work on and seeking support. They need to have support groups for parenting. There are men who work like abroad and women raise their children on their own. And it is a possibility. But this is where support group as a community comes in. This is where you engage instead of fussing about it and nagging that I never get enough support from you being in the marriage. I think there's a better way of dealing with it.
Absolutely. Now, when we're talking about support, I think it's very important to ask. Most of the women here in our Asian societies are settled up in joint family systems, but they have a very progressive mindset when it comes to parenting. How do you think that it can be balanced without anybody else interfering in the way a woman or a couple wants to upbring their kids?
There are two things, Faiza. One thing you need to understand is women in our culture come with two mindsets. There's one set of group that think that, I'm going to raise my child on my own and I would not like anybody's interference in it. And there's another set of group of people which think like, we're going to raise them together because that child is our child. Probably I'm the uncle, auntie, grandma, grandmother, whatever relationship you have with the child. Now, let's understand this. A community raises a child. A community nurtures a child. When we learn to accept with what we have, it gets easier. Yes, the primary job stays with being with the parents, but yes, the community works together, and eventually a child basically learns from whoever he engages with. Because we need to understand that in a child's life, there are about 5 people that influences his life or her life. It could be a grandma, uncle, mother, father, a teacher, a coach. It could be a neighbor's uncle, auntie, whoever. But that's where I think some of the mothers get really possessive, which is not a good acquired behavior, to feel possessive. Because once we feel possessive, it releases very negative energy. And we don't want negative energy when we're nurturing and raising children.
Now, yeah.
Go on. No, that's it.
Yeah. So basically now there are a lot of women who work as well. You're a working mom yourself. How do you balance like being there with your kids the way that you want to be? See, I see a lot of women nag about that. Oh, we don't have enough time to do these activities. Oh, we don't have enough time to take them out. And this all together bring up a generation that has traumas, a childhood or transgenerational traumas. How can we fill up that gap without affecting the mental health of the mother and the child herself?
Mental health, it's such a deep thing that our nation or our society, I wish understood it really well, that this is such an important thing. And how are we doing in our mental health is absolutely, I feel like we've not worked enough. And we do have support, and I wish people understood that. Coming to your question now, that how do I do it? Well, first of all, kids are part of your team. They're never against you. They are your team. You need to address what we have. Share your daily agenda with them. Tell them, my availability times are so and so. I've never outsourced my parenting to anyone. I had never had a maid or anybody raising my children. So we as a husband and wife have managed. Now, if my husband wasn't there, I would have sought the support. But I was lucky enough to have him being, supporting me while I was at work. But I don't think parents, husband and wife, put their issues in front of children. There's never going to be enough time, Faiza, to do anything. Honestly, I feel like we always have this excuse. We've never got enough time to cook. We've got never enough time to rest. We've never got enough time to work on a project. Or maybe even this, I've never got enough time to seek counseling or coaching to learn a new thing. So I feel there's never going to be enough time. It's our priorities. So prioritize parenting, because that's what you've been doing. That you've brought the kids in this world for a reason. And that's one thing I would say, encourage them to work on.
Now, when we talk about, it was an excellent point that, we need to prioritize. Do you think, I personally feel that there's a lack of pre-children counseling. We also don't have post-children counseling as well. But, we need to be mentally prepared. We are going to have a kid. And only we think about is, all right, just put all the breakables inside the cabinet, just cover all the sockets. That's the only preparation we do. What is the actual preparation a couple should go through before they even decide to have a kid?
Okay, I don't think there's any kind of counseling, proper counseling going on anywhere around, for different things, pre-job, pre-marriage, or pre-kids, anything. There's not much counseling going on. There are some wise people who make very good steps. But the awareness has begun, community has risen, and it is working towards it. How should it happen? I think before having children, let's work on premarital counseling. Because when you come together with somebody and you wish and are willing to share a life, there are a lot of things that come with it. Are we ready to set boundaries with that person? Are we ready to actually be with the person's liking and disliking? And are you ready? You might not know many things about the person you're going to live with. You're going to discover that. You're going to discover that when you start living with that person. And are you ready to take those shocks and traumas that come after when you discover? and how important it is to actually pay attention to them. Everything comes with it. Number one thing is encourage children to make decisions. One of the things that you notice that there's no decision power given to children or even the couples in marriage. Like, you know, when a child is born, the first thing the parents have a right to is naming a child with a decent and a proper name.
Absolutely,
But that
and they're not giving it.
away. It's not given, it's given to
True.
the popo, it's given to the khala, it's given to the others. No, allow the parents to bear that responsibility and allow them to take the decision, you know. Don't encourage them, we would like to have a boy in the family, or we've got enough girls in the family. Allow them to decide who they want in the family and what they're comfortable with. Are they willing to live with you, or would they like to live in a separate compartment on their own and cooking every day what they like to cook? Because usually these basic decisions are decided by somebody other than the husband and wife.
Absolutely.
So I feel there's a lot of thing that is not in hand as a couple.
Now, again, when we talk about children and we talk about the quality time with them, you see, we do understand a lot of women are not so capable to put efforts on their own, maybe to train their kids to take decisions or to cook them, or maybe they are too weak in their homes. They don't have that strong roles that they can do the right parenting. What is one best thing that a woman can do who is not in a strong role to make sure that their children are not brought up in a weak manner?
Okay, I'm so glad, Faiza, you've raised this question, and I want to say it out loud. Why are women saying that we are weak? I don't know. I don't know why. Because if you're weak, why would Allah give you a child to raise? Why he compares his love to a mother's love?
Absolutely.
There is something amazing going on in here. You've been given the power of thinking. So when you bear a child, what the mother thinks, the child feels. What the mother eats, the child gets nourished with. What the mother is, what is her physical and mental health, the child gets that. It's never the father. It's never the grandmother or grandfather or the uncle and auntie. So why is it that we women consider ourselves weak? Allah has given us a leadership role. Consider yourself as a leader. You are leading your nation there. Your child has a role to play in the society, in the community, in the, make the circle bigger and bigger. So we are not weaker. Yes, we feel weak. We think we are weak, and that's what makes it worse. So how do we do it? Back to your question, work on yourself. Work on yourself every single day. Get closer to the goal you have. Forget procrastination. Stop doing things that give no value. You've been feeding people who don't value you. You've been doing things to people out of expecting they would do something for you. Work on yourself and ask Allah to help you in it. I think there's nothing more powerful than this.
This is beautiful, exactly. That we are already in a situation of power, we just undermine ourselves. Now, the last but very important question before, the gender roles. When we bring up kids, I personally believe, maybe I would be wrong and I would like to be corrected, a lot of chaos that is being presented in our society is because we as parents do not teach the gender equality and gender roles to our kids. We have a very biased system of parenting. As a coach, as a parenting coach, what do you suggest should be done to eliminate that?
Okay, eliminate, let's put it like this. Gender equality is a term that's been assigned to us, okay? But let's look at it. Is there gender equality in terms of different factors? There's no equality here, okay? Because I always refer to what Allah has to say to us. When Allah says to a man, if you do this, you will get the ajr in this dunya.
Right.
But when it comes to a mother, he said, I will give you the ajr. And when he says he's yet to decide on the ajr, so when he says that, so that means there's something bigger waiting for us. You know, when you put a lock on something and you say, I've put this present, but you don't know how much that the other person, you know, you've just put something in a gift and you're just ready to give it. But Allah wants you to work harder. Allah wants you to understand. So there's this terminology equality is different. Let's understand our basic roles. Men and women both hold responsibilities. I think it comes more down to how we raise our kids by saying, you know, yes, provide them the equal education. There's where inequality comes.
We talk equality in terms of being human beings.
As human beings with the needs, basically. And when it comes to education, food, and, you know, necessities, but still there's an emotional need which a girl child would want more than a boy child. So a boy child likes physical challenges. I'm the mother of 4, and I know they don't attach really like a girl child. But if we understand that the differences biologically, I think we will be able to do that. So as in a community, there are biological differences, but give them their rights in the other ways by, you know, addressing and the feeling, both have same rights, choices, both have same rights. Both have rights to, you know, in marriages, both have rights to, you know, decision making. I think that's where it comes down to.
Great. Now coming to that, Wafa, would you please tell us a little more about, because all of viewers really want to know about your counseling sessions. How can we get in touch with you? What are the parts that you touch? What are the things you train us at?
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Faiza. I run a page, Wafa Khan Life Coach. Okay, so if you would like to contact me, I'm available on that page. My email and my WhatsApp number is available over there. People usually approach me through WhatsApp, and I provide, mostly my expertise come down to relationship coaching. Okay. But we do work on goal setting. I work with teenagers and I work with adults. And why I work with teenagers mostly is I feel like they need support because they are our future nation. You know, if we can groom this belt of people that we have in our society, I think that's where we would see the change in future. So counseling, I can provide all sort of counseling, parenting, and I'm a homeschool mother. So I know the challenges that come with it. So these are my services, and I'm approachable on my page.
And you available for all time zones, or you strictly were in some time zone only?
No, I work online. So I've been working in all time zones, and it really helps other people because online, I think it's the best that's been happening for people. Yes, that's my page.
Thank you so much, Wafa. This was really enlightening, and I know the subject is really vast. And I hope with you, a lot of women can get help. And I've shared the pages for other women to see so they can directly contact you. We'll be keeping in touch with you again for some other very insightful topics. Thank you for being such a great speaker today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Faiza. Thank you so much for everything. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, my dear Bowery women, to be there. This was a session with Wafa. I would really appreciate everybody to please go out and check both the links for her life coaching and her parenting pages. And I hope this is going to help you somewhere. Thank you, everyone. Jazakallah khair.